Okay, so thank you all for joining. We're unfortunately still under these challenging times, circumstances. We also want to share with you some thoughts on the parsha to give us some perspective about some of that which is going on around us. So in this parsha, we get our bang for our buck. We have two parshas Bahar and Parshas Bechukosai. And Parshas Bahar primarily speaks about the mitzvah of Shemitah, that we work the land for 6 years, and in the 7th year, so it is to lay fallow. It's very similar to Shabbos, where we have 6 work days and a 7th day of rest. And in fact, we find that both are called Shabbos. There's the Shabbos of the week, there's the Shabbos of the years, and so in fact, the Shemitah is referred to as Shabbos. They're both called not only Shabbos, but Shabbos la Hashem, a Shabbos for Hashem. Try to understand this. Now, we should appreciate what this means. To keep the Shemitah is in Parshas Bahar, in Parshas Bechukosai, we talk about Bechukosai Teichu, if you will be omel b'Torah, if you will toil in Torah and work hard at it, so you'll be privileged to merit much bracha. But if not, there are many curses in order. Let's talk about Shemitah for a moment. So Shemitah is an unbelievable thing, you know. So we understand that it can be very challenging for many people just to keep Shabbos. People living especially from paycheck to paycheck, and it can be very difficult to take a day off. And while things are much easier in today's world and less of a challenge, not without challenge, less of a challenge, but we know early America what that was like. You know, people were having a different job every week. They would work and get fired on Shabbos and didn't show up, and that was it. Change the job if you can find another job. Tough times. So we can understand even what one day is and what kind of a challenge one day can be. And of course, you know, much of that may have to do with how a person is raised. To introduce the concept anew is very difficult. A person's raised with it, so it's just not an option. And it's not on the radar screen. But now let's talk about Shemitah. Imagine you're a farmer and you have to refrain from working your land, your parnasa, your livelihood for an entire year. That takes tremendous strength. In fact, the Medrash refers to those people that have that strength to observe the Shemitah properly. They're called Giborei Koach, people that are very, very strong. Very, very strong. What does that mean? They're strong like Malachim. This pasuk of Giborei Koach, people of great might like the Malachim, this is the same language, points out Chaim Shmulevitz, is used for the description of Klal Yisrael when they said Na'aseh v'nishma, when they said we're going to do whatever Hashem says, whether we understand it or not. We're going to just follow Hashem's instructions. We'll try to understand it to the best of our capabilities later, but our reasoning and understanding is not going to form our approach of observance. Our observance is not contingent upon it. We're serving Hashem because it's the right thing to do, whether we understand it or we don't. Hashem knows what's good for us, what's best for us. In order to be able to observe the Shemitah, one has to have that kind of an attitude where one understands, listen, I don't understand how I'm going to survive for an entire year without making money. I'm a farmer. What's going to be with my life with the economy. Yeah. So. So it takes tremendous strength. And what strength that must be to be able to observe the Shemitah for the entire year, not knowing. Hashem promises, but that takes a lot of strength to be able to observe the Shemitah. And we know there's tremendous bracha. Hashem promises there will be bracha. And there are modern day stories as well. Famous stories of Shemitah farmers, and even there were locusts and caimans. Got all the surrounding fields except for the one who kept Shemitah. Only his field was protected. Go figure. This is the modern day hand Hashem being seen. It happened not too long ago. Famous story. It takes tremendous strength. Let's understand something fascinating about this. What is the nature of this mitzvah of observing the Shemitah? There's an important idea when we come into Eretz Yisrael. It's very easy for us to think we're the boss. We're in charge. And it's our land. This is my land. This is my nation. We work for it. You know what Jewish history is? You know what we went through to get this? It's very easy now to fall into a trap that I own this land. And I got it with my own work. By the sweat of my own brow, with my own skill, with my own intelligence, with my own Air Force, with my own tanks. It's my strength that did it. The Torah tells us, when you go into Eretz Yisrael, the land which I have given you, I gave it to you. Hashem says, I gave it to you. I'm the boss over here. I'm the one who's in charge. I'm in the driver's seat. And not only that, I was no saying. Look, I gave it. The word no saying is a language of giving of a matana. It's a gift. You think you earned it? You think you deserved it? I gave it to you as a gift. No one is ever deserving of anything. It's always b'chesed of Hashem. There's no real such thing as deserving anything, because Hashem is so much better to us than we are to Him. So we never truly deserve anything. So the Torah tells us, don't fall into this trap of thinking you're the boss. Don't fall into this trap of thinking you're in the driver's seat. When you go into Eretz Yisrael, you need to keep the Shemitah. You need to know you're not in the driver's seat. You need to know you're not in charge. The Kli Yakar adds that actually, he says, all the Goyim, he says this was commonplace. I'm not a farmer, I didn't check this out. But he says that it's commonplace that Goyim, with their fields, they would work for 2 years and let it sit for every third year. So actually he understands, he says the Torah is saying, don't worry about that. You don't listen to everybody else. This is Eretz Yisrael, there's a different land over here. I'm in charge, Hashem says. Things are going to be different when I'm in charge. You're going to go for 6 years. And when you think you're at the end, at the weakest point of the land, that's when it's going to give you extra bracha. It's going to give you 3 years worth. You're going to have for the 6th year, you're going to have for the Shemitah year, and since you would normally be planting in the Shemitah year for the 8th year, so you'll have for them too. There's a great toy that kids have. Usually works pretty well. They have these little steering wheels, just a steering wheel. That's all it is. You could put it on the kid's stroller. You could put it on the kid's high chair. You could put it in the kid's car seats. It's great, So I remember my kids had it when they were younger, and you tell them you were gonna, we need a turn over here, and turn the steering wheel when you get to the corner, and they think they're turning it. You know what the truth is. They feel like $1 million. They feel like, wow, look what I just did. So it's great. Well, why do kids like steering wheels? For the same reason that adults like steering wheels, because we like to be in charge. We like to be in charge. And we do not like it when we're not in charge. There's a term for this. It's called a backseat driver, right? The guy who's in the backseat, he cannot handle, or she cannot handle watching this person drive. I would do it differently. I go a little faster, a little slower. I would have gone that way. I would have gone that way. The backseat driver can't handle not being in charge, can't handle not turning that wheel, can't handle not being in charge of the foot pedal, the brake, the stereo, whatever you name it, the AC. They got to be in charge. We all need to be in charge. This is lesson number 1 from the parsha about coronavirus. Take a look around. See what's going on. The world cannot handle not being in charge. The world cannot handle not being in the driver's seat. We have thought that we have been in the driver's seat for so long. We cannot plan anything. We cannot plan when the school will open, when the school will open, businesses will open. We cannot plan our doctor's appointments. Should I go in? Shouldn't I go in? Telemedicine. Is it worth the visit? Is it that important? Are they open? Aren't they open? What are their hours? Appointments canceled. We cannot plan. We cannot plan weddings. We cannot plan bar mitzvahs. We cannot plan anything. Nothing. We are not in charge. And we feel the pain for those that are missing out. People, a chasna and a kala, waiting their entire life to have a chasna. What's going to be? They're planning, maybe I'll wait a little longer. Very tough thing. I should be dating. I shouldn't be dating. They're engaged. We should make the chasna sooner. We should have it without our parents, without our grandparents. Whoa, we should push it off. Very, very difficult. Very, very difficult. Very challenging. There's no question. We feel their pain. There's also no question that there's a lot of anxiety out there for not being in the driver's seat. That's to minimize the pain of those that are missing out on these very important things. It's important to have, people at your chasna on there to be a simcha. It helps to build the marriage. It's important. But people are having a lot of anxiety because they're not in the driver's seat. They can't take it. They can't take it. Some people are saying, it's either coronavirus or depression. Really? Willing to risk your life or someone else's life because you can't grow up and stay put? Really? Listen, if you want to tell me you don't believe in the medical facts, it's a different discussion. But you're choosing, this language is going around. Coronavirus, depression, grow up a little bit. You're not in the driver's seat. You never were. It's refreshing. We should all know we've never been in the driver's seat. It's not easy, but we as Yidden know that we have never been in the driver's seat. It's an important lesson. We certainly shouldn't be suffering anxiety from it. It should be teaching us a lesson that, listen, Hashem is running the world. What is he doing? We have no idea what he's doing. Why is he doing it? We have no idea why he's doing it. Is there a calculation? There's absolutely a calculation. Is it from Hashem? It's absolutely from Hashem. Is it somehow for the best? It's somehow for the best. Do we understand why? No. Do we understand why people are suffering? No. Do we understand why people are dying? No. Do we understand why people are without jobs? No. We don't understand. But we understand that we're not in the driver's seat. When we can understand that we're not in the driver's seat, we're halfway there. We're halfway there. That's a tremendous lesson. It's a lesson of Shemitah. You're not the Balabas over here. You're not in charge of the land. It wasn't your Air Force, and it wasn't your military intelligence. It's me. I gave you a matan. I gave you a gift. You're not in the driver's seat. When you understand you're not in the driver's seat, Hashem is happy to take you wherever you want to go. And the ride will be smooth. But when you keep fighting with the driver, trying to grab the wheel, then it's going to be trouble. It's going to be trouble. The Ravid says the purpose of mitzvos is that we have a constant reminder that Hashem is in charge. There's a God in the world. He created the world. He continues to create the world. And he's constantly running the world. And he's in the driver's seat. He says, take a look at all the mitzvos, how many reminders we have. If we were farmers, this would be so much. He says, you start plowing. There's so many rules. You can't plow different species. You can't work your animal with another type. You have to leave over all the gifts for the poor in your field. And there's so many different halachas going on from beginning till end. You find you make some bread, you have the mitzvah challah, you have to make a bracha. There's mitzvahs all along the way, halachas with the land, halachas with our animals, halachas with our bodies, halachas with our clothing. It can't be shabbos. After you have to have tzitzis. So many things, so many things. Constant reminders, davening 3 times a day. Always, living when we can. All of these things, constant reminders of connection to Hashem, that Hashem is in charge. And it's something that should be refreshing to know that we're in good hands, as the saying goes. This is lesson number 1. Let's move on to lesson number 2. We find in Parshas B'chukosai that if you don't listen to Hashem, if you don't walk in Hashem's ways, which means you're not working hard in Torah, you're not working to grow, you're not working to learn, you're not working to connect. If you're not you're not really working in it, so it's going to lead to bad things, and there's going to be a lot of color, there's going to be a lot of curse. There's one very interesting curse which is mentioned. It's a curse called Bahala. It's a hard word to translate. Bahala is like a panic. It's like where there's chaos, everything is, out of order, and, things are coming at you 100 miles an hour. You're not thinking properly. You don't know how to react. This is Bahala. Listen to this. This is an unbelievable thing. In the Sefer Aznaim LaTorah, it says in the name of Shmuel David Walken, which is our Shmuel David Walken's, our Rabbi Walken of the Kollel, I think his great-grandfather, I think. In any case, in the Aznaim LaTorah, this is written in the 1950s approximately, okay? He says, let's take a look at technology. Listen, we know that there's a lot of wonderful, wonderful things that can be done. Look what we're doing right now. There can be some wonderful things going on with technology. If used properly, we can have shiurim. The kids can learn, at a better, at a more advanced level, with better interaction with it. There are wonderful things. Everything can be used in a right way and a wrong way. In the Sefer Aznaim LaTorah, he talks about something, a very unique outcome of technology, which is something which, not saying it makes it all treif and you can't use it. It's not the point over here, but it's something that we need to be aware of. And this is written in the 1950s, okay? He says that with technology, things have sped up. Everything is becoming faster and faster. He says, today, he says, he's writing then, he says, certainly no one's going to walk to the next city, even in old days, they took a horse or the like, So, but even today, he says, who would take a horse? You're going to go by car, right? He says, actually today, people are already getting frustrated to use the car. It's not fast enough. People want to go by plane, he writes, So he says, and you watch out. He says, you're going to see, there's going to come a time where people are going to be frustrated that the plane isn't fast enough either. I remember hearing this discussed by Rabbi Dr. Avram Torsky over 20 years ago. I remember him describing, he says, he lived in Milwaukee, and he said, I used to travel every once in a while to California. He said, I used to take a train. It would take me around 3 days. He says, but then I started to take a plane. He says, much faster. It's great, wonderful. You save so much time. It's great. He says, and then one time I had to go to California, and talking to the travel agent, he says, and she could only find me a stopover in Vancouver. He says, and I'm going out of my mind. Like, what do you mean you can't find me a direct flight? I need to get there faster. I don't have that kind of time, I take a step back. It used to take me 3 days. Now I can't find a place for myself when I can't get a direct flight. I don't have a stopover. 3 hour stopover. So we see that technology has sped things up. And this is in the 1950s. In the 1950s, the world has become so fast that we don't know what to do with ourselves. And he says it makes me very impatient, extremely impatient. People have no patience. He writes then in the 50s, look what happens, look what's going on now. Everything is happening so fast, people email, it's like, forget about snail mail, like email is out too, even texting. People don't even have time to check Their phones, for emails and texts, they need to have it on their watch. So because it takes too much time to stick their hand in their pocket. So it's got to be on their arm, you know? Listen, I'm not saying there's not advantages. It's not my point to cancel it out. But the world has become very impatient about many things, and we have to be careful to use things properly, and not that it should lead us to impatience and lack of tolerance. It's a tremendous thing. He says everyone thinks that with all these advancements of technology and speeding up the world, it's going to save us so much time and be so much more convenient and enhance our lives. But he says, look at the impatience level of people around us. He says it's one of the clawless, one of the curses in the Torah. So we have a gift at hand. Lesson number 2 of coronavirus. The world has slowed down tremendously. You know, the hustle and bustle is done for now. It's just not there. It's just not there. You know, people aren't traveling and people aren't out and about like they were, out for essentials at best. You know, it's many people out of work. Slow down. Do we like it? We have chosen it? No. Does it come with its challenges? Yes. But we have this benefit. There's a benefit in slowing down. There's a benefit. We have it a little bit better in Scranton. Things are in general a little bit slower. I remember my first time coming to Scranton. I came with my wife and we were coming. We took a long trip from Chicago, and, you know, I was used to driving in the tri-state area. And I remember our first trip, we came here, and all of a sudden I get to the stop sign, and like they're waiting me on. I'm like, great, this is great. You don't find that in New York, you don't find that in New Jersey, you don't find that in Chicago. You know, I was looking for directions as before GPSs already, you know, and I stopped it. I still remember it was a tailor. And these guys telling me there's been a tailor shop there for the last 100 years. It's not there anymore, actually. But he went over the directions like 5 times with me. Like, you'd never get that in New York, you know? So there are advantages to patience, tremendous advantages, things being a little bit slower, you know? So we should appreciate the value of slowing down a little bit, giving us time to think. Because this is one of the ways of the Yetzer Hara. The Yetzer Hara wants us to act so fast, to be so busy that we never have time to think about anything important. Never. Running from text to email to everything. It's unbelievable. And we can never stop and think to ourselves for a moment, to stop and have a meaningful conversation with anyone, with a spouse, with a child, with a friend. We're too busy. We're too fast. We're being pushed. It's not even by choice. It's just like the world like pushes you. You know, because you got to get everything done, and it's become the demands of just living, of just simple living, not even necessarily self-imposed. This is the society around us. Of course, some people ask for more than others, but so it is. So we should appreciate that gift of slowing down. Bahala, it's a curse. This panic, this chaos, this not having time to think. Paro said they have too much time on their hands. Yirpimheim, give them more work. This is the ways of the Yetzer Hara, is that when we have time, that's good for us. When we don't have time, that's bad for us. So Yetzer Hara wants to get us as busy as possible, you know. It used to be, it was a real project to make a phone call. You had to go down the block. You know, and then you had it already in your house, and then they moved it to the car, and then you get it in your pocket, and then you got it on your watch, and you get it, you know, in just a little thing in your ear, and you just have to talk, or it could be even glasses, and you just talk to them. It's unbelievable what's going on, and this, while could say be saving us time, really is pressuring us into speed, and we have to be careful that it should not prevent us from thinking, stopping to think, and from not becoming intolerant. And in the Azam Torah, Zalman Shvatzkin, he says that it's a curse. Why? Because Hashem says, you didn't have patience for me. So I'm going to put you in this state of speed where you're going to become intolerant and impatient because you didn't have patience for my Torah. That's too much. I don't understand that one. You see some people, they just get like, you know, ants in their pants. They can't sit for more than a few minutes. Or like the shir is getting too long, or davening is getting too long, or whatever it is, it's getting too long. I can't do it. Seder is getting too long. Sukkah, Smil, it's getting too long. And they can't. I need to get up. I need to get out. You know. So this is all part of having a lack of patience. It's all maybe also related to feeling like you need to be in control and not to be controlled. So people don't like that, but it's something which lesson we need to learn. And when we come to that point, it's refreshing. So our lesson number one is we're not in the driver's seat, and that should be a great gift to recognize that Hashem is our driver, and we should let Hashem drive instead of trying to grab the wheel. Then we can be taken to some beautiful places. Lesson number two, we should have some patience. We should take advantage of this slowed down time where the curse of Bahala is being removed from us. I know everyone thinks that it is a curse right now, and it has its challenges, but we have a curse of Bahala in many ways, which is of this panic, this speed, of this impatience, which is being removed if we take advantage of it. But we have to take advantage of it. We can become just as busy on our electronics inside the home if we're not careful. We should take some time and slow down and think about which is important and prioritize ourselves and make sure we're using our time wisely. So this is lesson number two. Let's move on to lesson number three. Something which I have spoken about in the past, you may remember, maybe not. My repeat of this concept is not due to lack of other things to talk about, but it's something which I think about often, and it's something which is extremely important. So I do bring it up from time to time because I believe it's a very important concept. In this parsha, in Kosai Telichu, it says, if you will walk in my statutes, what does that mean? And that is when you'll have lots of brach. So Rav Nachum Zeb, the son of the Alter Miguel, explains the mashal. He says, it's like a bunch of people, you imagine a bunch of people sitting around a table, and everyone looks the same. And then one leaves, another one leaves, and then there's one left behind, and you don't understand why. Why is he left behind? You get a closer look, and you see he doesn't have legs. That's why he didn't walk away. Everyone walked away because they had legs. He didn't have legs, so he didn't walk away. So the son of the Alter Kelm says that he makes this comparison to people in yeshiva. And this is an extremely relevant thing, not only to people in yeshiva. It says, in yeshiva, everyone looks like they're the same. They look like they're the same, they're all learning, they're davening, basically, Then when it comes time for vacation, when they graduate, it's time, for such thing. People are, moving on to getting married and other areas they have to work. Whatever the situation is, you see the difference. Oh, do you see the difference? You see who has their own legs to walk on and who doesn't. This isn't only about yeshiva bachurim. It's about all of us. And sometimes people, many of us may work well in a group, but when we're alone, when we're challenged by other groups or friends or circles or whatnot, or family members, some people have their own legs to stand on and to stand up to against people, stand strong in their beliefs, and some people do not. Very relevant, we don't have a benefit. It's a tremendous benefit to be able to gain from other people. We don't have that in the shul right now. We shouldn't underestimate its importance of having support from others and being around other people and seeing. We don't realize when we go to shul and, we come a few minutes early, we stay a few minutes later, we're learning, we're davening a little bit more concentration. We don't realize the influence we're having on others. We don't realize it. And now when we're alone, maybe we have a greater appreciation of, how we influence each other. And I remember he has a chavrusa there, and I noticed how that person davened so nicely over there. He's so careful not to talk over there. There's so many different things that we can learn from people. So many different things. And so now we're out of that environment. And the question is, do we have our own two legs? Well, let me tell you something else that can happen. There's an amazing study, a shocking study that just came out. I couldn't believe it. Hope you're all sitting down. It was an amazing study. I couldn't believe it. I read it. So there's this study that came out, and the study is that they did this study in Israel that all the people that have been quarantined with this coronavirus, so on average, people have put on quite a few pounds. I don't understand. It's hard to understand. Probably everybody's shocked. I'm happy that the Zooms from the chest up, but this is, we understand, people are not moving around as much. So when you don't move around as much, so people put on the weight. That's what happens. People get out of shape. It's not an easy thing. It's a challenge. We need to understand that this can be happening with our ruchnius, spiritually as well. If we're not staying in shape, if we're letting things slide a little bit, not getting dressed the same level that we would to daven if we were in shul, not davening with the same level of concentration, because when everybody's around, maybe it's a little different. Maybe we're slacking off a little bit and different. Everybody has their own thing. And many people are becoming stronger and doing more things, and I see it. And it's an amazing thing. It's a beautiful thing, seeing so many people being strong and having their own two legs. It's a test for everyone. And I see a lot of beauty in Klal Yisrael over here. So many people have really been shining. And look, everyone who's here and, coming to classes and different classes and all different kinds of things going on. We have davening going on in Zoom, and there's all different kinds of shurim going on in Klal Yisrael. It's unbelievable. People are really trying to push themselves and not get out of shape by sitting at the table without legs. So it's very important for us to appreciate that. There is an explanation. This gives explanation to something that we say every day in davening. In the Shema, so we talk about Hoya in the second paragraph. V'hoya Shema Tishma. If you're going to listen to Hashem, there's going to be lots of bracha. You're going to have rain, and it says V'yasafta Ganecha, that you'll gather your grain. Sounds like a wonderful bracha. Listen to the shocking Gemara. The Gemara in bracha says, you know what? That's not such a bracha. That's really when Klal Yisrael is not really doing the Ratzon of Hashem, the will of Hashem. Because if they were doing the will of Hashem, they wouldn't have to go. It wouldn't say you will gather your grain. It'll be done for you. The other nations of the world will all want to be part of supporting Torah and our connection to Hashem. And everything's going to be done for us. That's the optimal world. Everything is going to be given to us on a silver platter. All we have to do is just apply ourselves. That's a wonderful thing. But you're going to go do the work. You're going to do it. You're going to go gather your grain. That's talking about when you're not doing the Ratzon of Hashem. What do you mean that's not doing the Ratzon of Hashem? This paragraph is in V'hoya Shemoah. The pasuk, the whole paragraph is talking about if you listen to Hashem, you're going to get bracha. So Tosas in Brachas asks this question. He gives a very cryptic answer. He says, it's talking about when they're not in Osin Ritzono Kolka. They're not doing Hashem's will so much. What does that mean? What does that mean? Sir Yaakov Naiman offers a beautiful explanation. He says, what it means is, listen to this. There's a very important, the words in the first paragraph and second paragraph, there are many similar psukim. There's one very important difference in structure, in style, in the grammatical style between the first paragraph of Shema and the second. In the first paragraph, it's written b'loshen yachid in the singular. And in the second paragraph, it's all in the plural. The first paragraph, v'ahavta, and you should love. But the second paragraph is all in the plural. V'hoya Shema Tishma'u, you, all of you, in the plural. It's all in the plural. What's the difference? Says Rabbi Yaakov Naiman beautifully. He says, it's talking about doing the will of Hashem, but only in the plural, only in the context of other people, only with the support of other people, which is good, but it's not the optimal level. A person's not there yet. And when a person has his own two legs, her own two legs to stand on, so that's a whole different ballgame. It's a whole different story. So in fact, and you'll have to gather your grain yourself. As talking about this level, perhaps, where a person is doing the will of Hashem, but it's not coming from his own motivation. He doesn't have his own motivation, his own drive. He's not self-driven. He needs other people. So that has its value, but ultimately, a person needs his own two legs. I'm going to just leave you with a very powerful story that I came across. There is a story told by the person himself. His name is Blake Leeper. He's a Paralympic gold medalist. They have the Olympics for people that have handicaps, and he has no legs, no legs. And he's like done amazing in these Olympics. And if you see like pictures, I mean, you know, he's really fast. He's really fast. He just has these like poles, legs with like little, looks like almost like little, you know, just like little curved feet almost, you know, little poles, just like almost like a little ski. That's it. And he's fast. And he tells the story. He says, I was born without 2 legs. And he says, and I remember when I was about 5 or 6 years old, he says, and he shows a little video. He was in Little League. And he says, and I get up to bat, and all I wanted to do was hit a home run for my father. I just wanted to make him proud. So, you know, swing, strike, you know, strike 1, strike 2, nothing. He hits the ball. Boom. He's running around first. It's going great. It looks like he's got a home run. He's rounding second. He's rounding third. And as he's rounding third, his leg falls off. And he's laying on the ground. He had taught himself as a young child to run with this contraptions, you know, with these prosthetics. And he said he remembers looking around, like all that energy, all that excitement, his teammates watching him is all gone. His father was looking at him, disappointed, not at him, but at the situation, very sad for him. He said, and I realized, I remember feelings of pain, feelings of anger, you know, it's not fair, what's wrong, like, why me, you know? Why do I have to be without legs? My mother has legs, my brother has legs, why me, you know? Why does this have to happen to me? And he realized, he said, it's up to me to get up right now. It's up to me. He said his mother told him something beautiful, unbelievable. He says his mother would wake him up every morning and say, you're right, you have 2 disabilities, you're missing 2 legs. You're right. But you have 1,000 other reasons that can make you great. And you got to get out of bed and you got to make yourself great. He said a beautiful thing. He said, 10% of life is what you're dealt with. 90% of life is how you deal with it. Some people may be without their legs. They may not have their legs. They may have been born without their legs. Sometimes you got to make your own legs. You got to have the 90% of how you deal with it. And this is not about us, you know, accomplishing Olympics in the physical world, but in the spiritual world. Everyone is born into a different family with a different level of education, and you know, and people think like, well, I can't really accomplish great things in Torah and in my Yiddishkeit. You know, I'm just a simple Jew. I'm a simple Jew. You know, thinking that I don't have legs. Well, we can make our own legs, and we can be very fast, and we can get very far. It's 90% of how we deal with it. So may we appreciate these lessons. We're not in the driver's seat, but we are. The driver's seat is what we do to ourselves, how we make ourselves great. That's our driver's seat. We can't control the circumstances of the world. Then we're in the passenger seat and we let Hashem drive. But we're in the driver's seat for controlling how great we can become, what we can accomplish, no matter what circumstance is given to us. And we recognize that Hashem is controlling everything. We should take advantage of this time to slow down so that we can work on ourselves and we can improve ourselves and we can make ourselves great and we can take advantage of the legs that we were given and we can make ourselves the strongest legs possible. And may we deal with all of our circumstances with flying colors, you know, shining, making a Kiddush Shem Shemayim, being the best that we can be with whatever. Everyone is born with certain, shall we call it, handicaps, certain things that we're good at and certain things that we're not, shortcomings. But that is, as we've spoken in the past, what really defines our character and helps to build us. When we understand who we are and what our character truly is, then we can be who we really are. Then we can really become great. And may all of this challenge around us go away. May there only be, refuus and yeshuas, only good things, good health for everyone, and bracha. May we take advantage of these lessons, and may we emerge even stronger together. Thank you all for joining, and wish you all a good Shabbos.
Thank you.